CBD.U, OTCPK:CBDHF, Aurora Cannabis Incorporated, NYSE, ACB, TSX, ACB, Afria Nasdaq, APHA, TSX, APHA, Tilray Incorporated, Nasdaq, TLRY, and Neptune Wellness Solutions, TSX, NEPT, Nasdaq, NEPT, are set to benefit from the growing body of research in CBD products and the increasing acceptance in the population. Hemp Fusion chosen as the exclusive supplier of hemp-derived CBD for clinical trial. Hemp Fusion Wellness Incorporated, TSX, CBD.U, OTC, CBDHF, a health and wellness CBD company, announced that Dr. David Harnick, a prominent cardiologist and assistant professor of medicine and cardiology at Mount Sinai Medical Hospital in New York, has chosen the company to be the exclusive provider of products to be used in a 6-month clinical trial. The clinical trial consists of 2 studies conducted by Dr. Harnick. According to Dr. Harnick, studying the potential effects that CBD may have on cardiology markets may potentially unlock some of the scientific mysteries that exist today. We know that there is evidence that CBD may have beneficial effects on the body, but the exact scope of those effects remains to be determined. There have been no published randomized prospective controlled trials evaluating the effects of CBD on these cardiac markets, so this research may prove to be groundbreaking. The study is expected to commence in March 2021, and it will be one of a kind in the area of the effects of CBD on targeted cardiology markers. Dr. Harnick chose Hemp Fusion for its rigorous regulatory standards, toxicology studies for safety, and adherence to quality control. Dr. Harnick constructed this long-term clinical trial to gather data that will help in the deeper understanding of the effects CBD has on the body. Hemp Fusion, partnered with Valid Care, as a co-sponsor alongside 12 other companies in the CBD space, collaborated in an industry-wide human observational liver and male reproductive toxicology studies, which explore the effects that full-spectrum hemp-derived CBD has on the liver. This is the second clinical trial Hemp Fusion is proudly participating in, Hemp Fusion Wellness CEO Jason Mitchell, ND said. We are committed to furthering research in the area of hemp-derived CBD, and this study, with Dr. Harnick, is a significant expansion of our efforts that reinforces our continued focus on the safe and effective use of hemp-derived CBD products, he added. The CBD used in these trials is the same product the company offers to the public. CBD companies in support of CBD clinical trials. Aurora Cannabis Incorporated, NYSE, ACB, TSX, ACB, announced a joint clinical trial with mixed martial arts organization UFC to identify the effects of hemp-derived CBD on certain treatments for MMA athletics, with a special focus on inflammation, pain, wound healing, and athletic recovery. The trial results will form a basis for the creation of a line of hemp-derived CBD topical treatments for elite athletes under the sports brand Raw Sports. Aurora CEO Terry Booth said, "We are going to work together to change the way people think, to change the industry, and to launch the first hemp-derived CBD products that are backed by scientific research." Afria, Nasdaq, APHA, TSX, APHA, has also participated in clinical trials with research partners in the medical field, including MedLab and Tetra Biopharma. Both MedLab and Tetra Biopharma have conducted clinical trials using CBD products from Afria based on agreements it has with these companies. Afria's participation in clinical research is part of the vision to advance the use of medical CBD for patients in need by providing high-quality, safe, and pure products. Tilray Incorporated, Nasdaq, TLRY, a global leader in cannabis research, cultivation, production, and distribution, announced that it received approvals from the Ministry of Health in New Zealand to launch its medical products across the country. These approvals allow Tilray to legally export medical marijuana from its GMP-certified Canada-based facility. As medical cannabis regulations continue to progress around the world, We are incredibly honored to be recognized as a trusted partner in offering the highest quality medical cannabis products, said Brendan Kennedy, Tilray's CEO. In addition to supplying medical cannabis to hospitals and pharmacies in Australia and New Zealand, Tilray partners with research institutions such as the Government of New South Wales and University of Sydney Chris O'Brien Lifehouse. Neptune Wellness Solutions, TSX, NEPT, NASDAQ, NEPT, is also keen to capitalize on the growing CBD extracts markets. The company, which recently transitioned into the CBD extraction field, has partnered with other companies in the industry, including with Tilray Incorporated. Neptune Wellness Incorporated has a strong position in the cannabis sectors, with its focus on research, development, and commercialization of cannabinoids to make them more effective, safer, and healthier. The cannabis industry is expected to continue expanding as companies focus on education, physician use, and customer uptake through clinical trials and research. Companies such as Hemp Fusion Wellness Incorporated are taking strides in developing high-quality hemp-derived CBD extracts and are standing out to scientists as ideal products for clinical trials. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Interesting story there. We're going to move on to Global Track Solutions Incorporated discusses expansion of psychedelic spotlight platform through Spotlight Roundup series with the Stock Day podcasts. We're going to let Clara take care of this one real quick.
Global Track Solutions Incorporated discusses expansion of psychedelic spotlight platform through Spotlight Roundup series with the Stock Day podcast. Today 9:24 a.m. ET, Newsfile. Phoenix, Arizona, Newsfile Corp., March 25, 2021, the Stock Day podcast welcomed Global Track Solutions, Incorporated, OTC Pink, PSYC, the company, a company integrating media, creativity, and technology to develop and deploy thought-provoking ideas and solutions that are fostering and transforming the approach to some of society's most pressing matters. CEO of the company, David Flores, joined Stock Day host Everett Jolly. Global Track Solutions, through Psychedelic Spotlight, which is our digital media platform, is proud to be the first and currently the only digital media-focused company in the emerging space of medicinal psychedelics, shared Flores to start the interview. Jolly then commented on the company's increasing growth rate for its psychedelic platform, which demonstrated a 40% growth rate from January to February of 2020. The month-over-month growth that we have seen here with Psychedelic Spotlight has been really encouraging, said Flores. Where this matters is in positioning ourselves as effectively as possible to really start to incorporate advertising space in Psychedelic Spotlight, and across our growing number of platforms, he continued. Our focus here now is on incorporating that advertising space and establishing media partnerships with other companies that are in this space looking to grow their audience and expand. Spotlight Roundup represents the next phase of our growth in expanding our digital content output and production. It's a news roundup series that is about 5 minutes in length and is produced in collaboration with Elks Pride Picture, said Flores. We're currently pushing this out on the 15th and 30th of every month, but we intend on making this a weekly segment. That's all I have in this one, back to you.
Next up, we got 2 more stories to look at here before we finish up. Real quick, I want to jump in some headlines from this morning real quick. I'm going to run down through them. First off, Cannabis strengthens operation team, welcoming Michael Ben Moshe as general manager. 3 a.m. Business Wire. TransCanna launching 2 of the most powerful cannabis strains on the market. That's interesting. And it's happening this weekend. That came out this morning at 4:02 a.m. Eastern Time, Newsfile. Monarco expected to generate revenues earlier than projected. That's a great thing. Since I own some Monarco, I'd like to see that. 6 a.m. That came out at Access Newswire. Green Thumb Industries is at it again, folks. They are going to open Rise Meadville in Pennsylvania, its 56th retail location in the nation on March 31st. Now, we just looked at a story earlier in the podcast about in Illinois with their 55th store. So, man, they are seriously getting after it. Good on you, Green Thumb. Go for it. Next up, MedFarm Labs expands wellness portfolio, launches next generation of oils with new unique CBN-rich formula. 7:01 a.m. Globe Newswire. MedFarm Labs highlights retail introduction of CBD 100 THC 30 company's first cannabinoid-rich formula. 7:07 a.m. from Benzinga. Press release: Salvatore Mila appointed CLC Board of Directors, signed lead R&D efforts for production of TAAT. Next up, Love Hemp Group highlighted as emerging CBD powerhouse in new research from investment bank Hanman and Partners. 8:38 a.m. Globe Newswire. Verio Health closes first tranche of debt financing with Green Ivy Capital. 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. PR Newswire. All right, back to it. We're going to look into the story about Mexico. Cannabis regulation delayed in the Senate. Going to bring Mia back in for this one to finish up the broadcast. We've got this and another one. It's been a kind of a long podcast here, but we had a lot of news to look at. So here we go. Mia, take it away, please.
Thank you. News from Mexico about their legalization efforts. Mexico, cannabis regulation delayed in the Senate. Today 1:24 p.m. Eastern Time, Benzinga. Regulating recreational cannabis in Mexico will take longer than previously expected, according to reports from El Planteo and El Universal. The adult use cannabis project was approved by the Senate in November of 2020 and recently passed through the Chamber of Deputies with several modifications. The bill now goes back to the Senate, which will be in charge of reviewing the adjustments that the lower house made. What happened? The modified cannabis bill was expected to pass quickly, but Mexican Senate Board President Eduardo Ramirez declared this week that there is no consensus on the adjustments made by the Chamber of Deputies. This means the bill will not be up for discussion yet. However, Ramirez is determined to generate the necessary consensus and said he feels optimistic about the document being approved before April 30th. This date is key because the congressional season ends on April 30th, and, with it, the current congressional term. The president of the board of directors assured that there are no plans to make further modifications to the regulation. The priority will be for the legislation to come into force, to subsequently reform it. I believe that due to the urgent need for legislation, and the income it represents for the Mexican state, at this time it is important to legislate in the terms in which it is presented to us, the senator said. Ramirez, who belongs to the Morena political party, added, "We are going to build an agreement with the different parliamentary groups so that it can be expedited and ready before April 30th. What's next? Once the project is approved, it must be sent to President Andrés Manuel López Obrador to be published in the official Gazette of the Federation. After that, a series of deadlines will be established for the cannabis industry to prepare for the start of operations." Back to you.
Mia. Okay, looks like they're trying to get some stuff ironed out down there in Mexico. Could be a potential big deal for them if they can get this going. I mean, they've got the weather. It's one of the greatest places in the world to grow cannabis is Mexico. Next up, we're going to look at palliative medicine. Why Mexican pharmaceutical Landsteiner began researching cannabis. And Mia, please take this over again.
Thank you. Palliative medicine, why Mexican pharmaceutical Landsteiner began researching cannabis. Today 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Benzinga. This article by Hernan Panesi was originally published on El Planteo. Landsteiner is a Mexican company focused on traditional pharmaceuticals, mostly generic medicines. However, in tune with plant medicine and the herbal tradition of Mexican medicine, the company recently began researching cannabis-based medicines. Plant medicine is pre-Hispanic, warns Alejandro Lara Terrazas, a surgeon, anesthesiologist, pain and palliative